Well, it is time to get started, so we'll go ahead and go for it. If anyone has any questions, please pop them in the chat. Cool. Can you hear me and everything okay, Ksenia?
Yes, I can hear you.
Great. Okay, sounds good. Okay.
Am I good?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, well, we'll get started. Hi, everyone. This is the What is DeFi, what is a DAO, what is Metagram and Delta, a lot of what is panel. I am going to help moderate this, and then I have Ksenia here to help me chat about all of this. To get started, we'll both do an intro and go from there. So you can start, Ksenia, and then I'll go after.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Ksenia Lifanova, and I'm a co-founder and partner at Upstate Interactive. We are a tech consultancy. We started in upstate New York. Now we're a remote team all across the US, and we have some developers outside of the US too, so we're a global team. We started the company building custom web and mobile applications, and then in 2017, my business partner and I discovered the world of Ethereum and blockchain and Bitcoin. Got really super excited about the space, started learning how to do smart contract development, convinced our other partners that we should, focus in the space, and started marketing our services as smart contract developers. And I've been working in the space ever since, working on several different types of projects with our clients. And then, of course, got involved in the DAO life with Metagram and Delta back in February of, 2020, back at ETH Denver. So really excited to be here and excited to talk about DAOs and the interesting world that we live in and operate in here on the Ethereum blockchain.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely agree. Cool. My name is Zaji, and I run partnerships and marketing for a company called Unstoppable Domains. We are building domain names on the blockchain. So sounds pretty easy, but what it truly means is that we are simplifying crypto payments and also building the decentralized web. So it's twofold. What you would do is go to our website, purchase a domain, such as for me, I have zaji.crypto. Those are the extensions we have, .crypto and .zil. And then you would add in your cryptocurrency addresses that you want associated with that domain. And it helps simplify the payment by, instead of having to copy and paste a crypto address, you would just write in the domain name. So we're making things simpler in that way, and then also building decentralized websites using these domains. So I like to think of them almost like GoDaddy and Venmo smashed together on the blockchain. And then additionally, I actually met Ksenia in Los Angeles a couple of years ago when we were running a crypto meetup that was hosted by women in LA. And then since the world's gone virtual, we've both been a part of Metagram and Delta DAO, as she mentioned, and we'll definitely jump into that in a sec. But it's been a great way to meet women in the space, help raise funds for women-led initiatives, and just continue to grow and share the voice of women in blockchain, which is awesome. Also proud to say I was the first a female hire at the company I work at, and have since then really tried to continue encouraging the hiring of women and just marginalized people in the space. And I think that that's all that we can each do on our own, is really use our voices as we can. So fun. Okay, great. So we'll go ahead and kind of talk about, let's just go ahead and dive in. Like, what is a DAO and how do they work? Ksenia, do you want me to do that one, or you want to take it?
Go for it.
Cool. A DAO, it stands for Decentralized Autonomous Organization. So that's what DAO stands for. And slang, we say DAO in the crypto space. And actually, Ksenia and I are presenting a topic like this at South by Southwest. So we're working on ways to make this more understandable by people who aren't in crypto, but it is also really fun just to chat about it with the crypto space as well. So decentralized, it means that these organizations are not formed top down. They're actually formed by a community. So how it works is one person actually summons the DAO, is what the terminology is. And that means that they go in to, there are UIs for this. We use something called DAO House to launch these DAOs, but I think if you're technical, you could probably launch it on your own without the UI system, but it helps you if you're not super technical just to basically create the DAO. So you would go in, you would launch it and summon it. Then what you would do is add members. So you do that in whatever way you want. We have been openly hosting open houses to get people to join our DAO. We've tweeted, we have social media accounts. But if you want it to be more of a private thing, that's also totally a thing. There are some DAOs that are just a few people. So it kind of depends on the point of the DAO, but then you add all these people to the DAO and they have to go into the UI as well and actually commit to joining it. And so there's typically a financial commitment made, and it's just staking cryptocurrency. So you actually can get that cryptocurrency back if you ever want to leave the DAO, but it makes you have a stake in the game, and it creates a decentralized platform where every single person has a voice, has a stake, and essentially can contribute to the DAO. So that's the decentralized portion. Autonomous, the reason the word autonomous is thrown in there is because these DAOs actually operate autonomously in the fact that the smart contracts that are made for each DAO have a set of rules attached to them. So if this, then that, right? So if I give my $10 to join the DAO, I automatically become a member. So there's a bunch of these rules that are already in place within your DAO. And once you do anything that act on these rules, the action is then executed by the computer and by the DAO itself. So autonomous, no third party needs to come in and make sure things are happening. Even you as a member don't really have to do too much as long as it's all pre-coded into the DAO. Am I saying this all correctly, Ksenia, so far?
Yeah, no, it sounds great.
Okay, cool. And then organization is the last letter in DAO, and pretty self-explanatory. These are organizations. They all have different purposes. DAOs can be whatever you want them to be. So it could be a organization just for fun. Maybe you just want to chat about a book club that you have and make it a DAO. You could also do something a little more serious. There are businesses that are built as DAOs, such as MakerDAO, if you've ever heard of MakerDAO. We'll talk about all these use cases later. And then the last is a bit more focused on like fundraising and grants. So more of like a nonprofit. So there's a few different ways that organizations can be built as DAOs, but that's the brief overview of what a DAO is. Ksenia, is there anything you'd like to add to just kind of the thought process behind what a DAO is?
No, I think you covered it pretty well. So like in summary, it's this digital community that lives on the blockchain where people can come together and, create a DAO, like Saji was saying, around any type of purpose that you feel passionate about. You can create a DAO. So we'll get into some specific examples a little bit later, but think of it as a digital community on the blockchain, like a club that you can join on the blockchain. Have stake in the organization. Can vote in the organization. Just have a lot more power than you wouldn't typically have in a traditional organization.
So Ksenia, would you be able to walk us through a few of the advantages of being in a DAO and why, like for us, for example, we think they're really cool?
Yeah. So there's a few advantages that we can talk about. I think a lot of people ask these questions when thinking about DAOs, which is how do you get things done effectively and efficiently without a leader? We're so used to corporations and organizations having a president, CEO, like this leader figurehead. So how do these DAOs work together without a leader and affect change? And also, like, what problem is the DAO solving? So I think we can actually answer those questions by looking at some of the advantages of DAOs. So before we dig into that, I want to, again, paint a picture of a traditional organization. So let's say you work for a big company, you work for the marketing department, and you have an idea for how to run the department more efficiently. So you have some tool where you can submit a proposal for your idea, and all of your colleagues can vote on it, including management. So you submit this proposal, colleagues, management vote, and everyone likes your idea. The vote passes, and within a month, your idea is implemented, and the rule sets of how that marketing department is run is changed. Now, that sounds wonderful, but that does not exist in modern day organizations. Modern day organizations, they have hierarchy, hierarchy and management. It's a top-down structure. that can leads to inefficiency rather than efficiency, and really leaves the decision making with the people at the top. The autonomous nature of the DAOs gives unique opportunities to members that just are not afforded in these traditional organizations. As we mentioned, in a DAO, members can submit and vote on proposals. They can really take part in these conversations on how to steer the organization. That typically is, those decisions are made in private rooms between the management team and organizations. So you can really drive the organization how you'd like. So that's one of the advantages, is a more flat structure. And then distributed work, another advantage. So once the DAO is deployed and activated, Zaji talked about someone who summons the DAO. Once they summon the DAO, they don't retain control of it over that DAO. So there is no CEO, there is no management team that dictates who needs to work on what. The work in the DAO is distributed among its members, and it's up to the members to really decide where they want to focus, how much time they want to put in. And in an ideal DAO, every member does their part, so the majority of the work isn't left to just a few people. So distributed work, everyone does a little bit to chip in. Transparency is another big one, and this is of course because of the nature of the blockchain, how blockchain works. All of the transactions that are recorded on the blockchain are public and open to everyone. So again, in traditional organizations, when decisions are made, they're often opaque and rarely shared with the members. We sometimes find out about these new rules that management has made and dictated to us. Whereas in DAOs, because they're open source and transparent, all of the transactions are recorded and maintained by the blockchain. So proposals are submitted, all the members see the proposal, they can vote, they can vote to disagree. And like Zaji mentioned earlier, they can actually leave the DAO. If there's a proposal that is submitted and you just vehemently disagree with it, there's an option to rage quit. So you can take back your stake and leave the DAO if you just disagree with what idea was proposed.
I was just going to say, it's like the craziest part about being in a DAO is that since it is fully your choice to join and, it's fully decentralized and you each have a stake in the game, you can also leave at any time. And I feel like people don't think about that very much, but it's a pretty big deal to be able to leave and still keep, the money and the share that you contributed to the work that you're doing and leave at any time. So it's kind of a twofold thing. I mean, maybe you think that's a pro, maybe you think that's a con, but it does really create autonomy over, where you are and what you're doing with your contributions.
Yeah. And then another advantage is trust. So in the real world, we have lawyers, we have real estate agents, we have banks, escrow accounts, contract agreements, judicial systems, and these types of entities exist to mitigate the risk between people who don't know each other to directly work with one another. We need these outside entities to regulate our interactions. Because the rule sets of the DAO are formalized through the code, everyone agrees to the code. If you join a DAO, you are able to see what those rule sets are. So you agree to them. No one can change those rules because they're immutable, on the blockchain. So they really provide a way for people and institutions that don't know each other or trust each other, who could live on opposite sides of the globe and speak different languages, to coordinate and work together. The code really provides trust in this trustless society that we live in, where we don't necessarily trust each other.
I'm gonna pop in there and ask you, how can those rules be changed? I know that once they're implemented, they can't technically be changed right then and there. But if we as a DAO decide that, we want to up the amount that's contributed when you join from $10 to $50, how would that work?
Yeah, so in that, it depends, of course, on what kind of change you're making. If it's kind of an external change that's not coded in the rule sets of the DAO, then you can just submit a proposal. Like, for example, you want to change the meeting time. Like, someone can propose a different meeting time, you can vote on that. You might not even need to do that necessarily on the blockchain. But if you want to change something, like you said, like the amount that people pledge when they join the DAO, In that case, you could redeploy a different DAO. I don't think you're able to update that. Once you set those variables, certain variables, when you deploy the DAO, they're kind of set in stone. So what you could do in that scenario, if you did want to make the pledge higher, you could create a different DAO and have everyone move over to the new DAO. So yeah,
Got it.
Everything there could be done through a proposal.
Okay.
Like bigger changes like that.
Cool.
Another thing that people vote on is like a lot of DAOs, which we'll get into, are, raising money. And so that's a big thing that people vote on, is like, what do we do with this money? Someone can make a proposal to send it to a certain organization or individual, and then everybody votes on it. And then the last advantage I want to mention is stake in the game, because most DAOs require a pledge or buy-in to be involved. There is economic incentive for people to stay involved. Like my example, if someone submits a proposal to send half of the DAO's funds to an organization, if you put your money into this DAO, your money's at stake, and there's just a higher incentive to stay involved, be active, vote on these decisions.
I'd like for us both to really quickly share the advantages, apart from, you're talking more of like the technical and like the organizational advantages of being in a DAO. Let's also both share what we've found as advantages, for us as individuals working in the space, being in DAOs, because I think it's a little more personal, but it would be good for people to understand why we care about these. So like for you, what have you found to be something that really makes it worth your time?
Well, number one is like the cause that, the purpose of Meta Gamma Delta. This is a women's conference, amplifying her voice. I'm a woman in tech, so I just really have always been very passionate about supporting other women in tech. And that's the goal of Meta Gamma Delta, is to raise money for supporting women in the blockchain space. So I love the passion, and I love that all of these women from, again, all over the globe over the course of the year have joined the DAO, all to work hard and raise money and then distribute those funds to women. That just like, it feels good. It feels good to be part of an organization like that everyone's just willingly choosing to be a part of. And then of course, friends, new friends from all over the world. Can't wait till we go to tech conferences in person, where I just have a whole group of amazing women from everywhere that I can't wait to meet in person and just have a good time with.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. I'd say the biggest thing is the networking opportunities. I think, DAOs are pretty in the nitty gritty. It's pretty in there in the Ethereum and blockchain world. So maybe not everyone's going to love the concept, but I think that it really gets to help you meet so many different people from different time zones, different places that you would have probably never met if it was only in-person events. So I also think a great advantage to being in a DAO is learning how to work with people from different places, from different backgrounds. I'm pretty used to American culture and American work processes. So it's been interesting just to hear how people in our DAO that are from other places in the world operate, things that they care about. Also, with being within crypto, it gives you a different insight into why people are in the crypto space. Like for me, it's more, I just really find it interesting. I think cryptocurrency is a great way to invest your money, etc. But there's people in our DAO that actually get paid and die because they're in countries where, the cryptocurrency is more stable than their actual currency of their nation. And so it's been interesting for me to hear people's stories and understand why other people are in crypto. So I just thought that would be an interesting thing to share. We should also actually explain what Meta Gamma Delta is. We've been talking about it a little bit, but I wanted to make sure we laid the foundation for what a DAO is first, and really emphasize that that's a decentralized organization, no top-down structure. But now that we kind of get that and we understand that it operates through smart contracts, what is Meta Gamma Delta? Since it's part of the title, and then we'll go from there into disadvantages. But do you mind giving a little brief overview, Ksenia?
Yeah, sure. So we are a digital community that live on the Ethereum blockchain. We there was a group of women that started the DAO at ETH Denver last year, and it was, 3 women that got together at the event and summoned the DAO. And since then we've grown to over 50 members. The concept has kind of changed over the course of the year. And that's the beauty of DAOs. You can kind of take them wherever you want to, but it was started as like a sorority DAO, kind of like a fun social DAO, of course, with the focus of women, because most DAOs are, mostly men. So these group of women wanted to start a female-friendly DAO and got other women to join. And then, as I've mentioned, we raise money through grant programs and then distribute them to women-led projects in the blockchain space. So we did our first grant round last year. We started working on it in the summer. It was open in October, and we awarded 3 amazing projects. And we're able, to give them funds to help them continue working on their projects in the space. And we'll be continuing to do more grants and hopefully obtaining new members. So that's it. I don't know if you want to add anything to that, Zaji.
Great. No, yeah, that's a great overview. I just wanted to make sure people understood what we were doing in the space as well. Okay, cool. So we've done a bit of the advantages, and we've talked about why we feel that it's very important to get involved in this new type of organization. But what are the disadvantages? If you'll go ahead and start, I'll jump in and chat with you about it.
Sure. Yes, disadvantages. So you've heard us continuously say that the rule sets of the DAOs are written in code and deployed on the blockchain. Who writes the code? It's people. People write the code. And of course, people make mistakes. And so there have been unfortunate hacks that have happened in the past. There was a hack with a DAO infamously known as, or called the DAO, back in, I think it was 2016. There was, an error in the line in the code, and I think a third of their reserves were actually stolen from a hacker. So we have learned a lot from that as a community, and as people, we try to learn and grow from our mistakes. But hacks are just an inevitability or a possibility of something that could happen when you are writing code. Second disadvantage is a lack of participation for members. So this is, it is distributed and everyone can pledge and stake and be involved. But again, we are still humans, and a group of humans, there just tends to be hierarchy, some hierarchy just naturally. So you'll have people that take on more, and then you'll have other people that, are busy with work or whatever reasonable explanation they have. But sometimes you do run into the scenario where there is a lack of participation from the members. And so I know all DAOs deal with this this problem. I think all organizations deal with this problem. That's a disadvantage.
Yeah, I was just gonna stop you right there and just say, like, the way that we've seen some DAOs address the situation is some have become profitable in whatever way that they can. So whether it is selling something or selling services, et cetera, that they, maybe they can contract out members to do work, but they look for a way to raise money essentially and pay members to do work. We are both an a volunteer only DAO at this moment, but there are DAOs where you can actually be paid to put in time and effort. A lot of DAOs have also launched their own tokens. So we don't have one, but for example, it would be maybe MGD token, Metagamma Delta token. And I would give Ksenia X amount of tokens for the work that she's been putting in for writing a blog post, for example. So I just wanted to share that there are ways that people are trying to address lack of participation and create incentive structures, but this is a whole new world. So there's still a lot to be learned from that.
Yeah, we're experimenting. Another example to add there is I know that there are some DAOs where you might want to donate money, but you don't have time, right? So you pledge a higher amount, but make it kind of evident that you just are too busy to actually participate, but you'd like to donate. Whereas other members might not have enough money to donate, but they have more time. So I know that there are DAOs that kind of have members come in at different
membership, like basically different membership levels, I guess.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. And then Yeah, so that's it with the lack of participation. And then regulation is another, it's a big question for the entire blockchain industry. And although, blockchain networks can't really be turned off since they're not owned by an entity or a government or a company or anything, they can't be turned off themselves, but regulations can be put in place that make coordination more difficult and less efficient. So far, DAOs have been too small for regulators to notice, but I think we all expect the space to continue to evolve and grow. And so regulation is something that could slow or prohibit the efficiency that DAOs are trying to solve or to improve.
Yeah, definitely. So I know a bunch of different DAOs out there that are having these conversations. Do we get a legal wrapping? Do we not? What we've been told by lawyers is that the best thing is to figure out some sort of legal wrapping. Whatever it is that you want that to be, that's a different conversation to be had. But it is suggested that at the very least you do that, because there are funds running through these organizations. They are typically acting as businesses, even if they don't realize it, or nonprofits. So it's good just to understand that and try to protect yourself as much as you can, even though this is the wild west of crypto. So we always like to share that detail. Great. So should we jump into real world DAOs and the advantages, or types of real world DAOs out there?
Yes. Do you want to give us some examples?
Yeah, definitely. So as I was mentioning a while ago, there's a few different types of DAOs out there. The first is fundraising and grants. So as we've been mentioning, there are DAOs that are raising funds for certain types of missions and goals. Ours is to raise funds for women-led initiatives. I've seen, I think it's called like Yang DAO. There's just like some funny ones that are like more like political, like that one. I believe they were raising funds for Andrew Yang's like political campaign. There's also pulled together type DAOs where you're raising funds to put all your money into one place and then give those out for some sort of mission. So yes, different types of fundraising DAOs. So Metagram and Delta is a great one to think of there. Metacartel is another cool one. And I'm going through electrical issues over here, so bear with me. So yes, that's the first type of category. And then the second that I would definitely chat about is business DAOs. So DAOs function as businesses, and members act as contractors within those DAOs. So they would provide a service and then they're paid for that. A great example of that is raid guilds. I know, Ksenia, you're a little more familiar with raid guilds, so maybe you could give like a one-liner about what they do.
Sure. Yeah. Raid Guild operates as basically a dev agency on the blockchain. So as a member, you pledge to be a part of Raid Guild, and then Raid Guild will take on clients to work on certain projects. They'll assemble a team of members in that DAO, and they actually get paid through the DAO by the client. So yeah, they operate. It's a really super cool DAO. They have some really great people. My company's actually worked with them on a couple projects. Really talented Web3 developers and designers. But yeah, they operate as a business, but on the blockchain. So it's really cool to see how organizations are evolving and using this cool technology to work.
Great. Yeah, definitely. And then the last type is governance DAOs. So these are DAOs that have a token typically, and they govern that protocol that they've built to operate that token. And they're mostly responsible for maintaining the protocol through proposals to improve the DAO. So MakerDAO, they have a community of Maker token holders that govern the Maker protocol, and that then governs the smart contracts that power DAI, which is a stable coin. I know there's a lot to unpack there, but basically what we're saying is that the community helps govern and ensure that the token is being used in the right ways, is gaining value in legitimate ways, and is being shared with the greater community as best as possible. So those are really interesting to me because these organizations are huge. I mean, MakerDAO is a huge one. I think Aragon's another big one. And they're really powering an entire, at least for MakerDAO, they're empowering an entire stablecoin economy. So it's fascinating to think of that all being run by a decentralized organization. It's just such a new concept, but they're seeing a lot of success.
Yeah, just to jump in, the other really cool thing about these protocols and these projects is that when they first, when they're first deployed, they're first created, you'll have like the technical team, kind of the leadership team who's running the protocol, but they have mechanisms built into place to slowly transition to a more decentralized manner of running the protocol by utilizing the DAO. So they'll over the next couple of years after they've been deployed and the protocol has gained some traction, there's users, there's governance token holders, they'll start to transition some of the functionality that was just left to the leadership team to the governance DAO. So it's a really cool way for them to move towards decentralization without necessarily starting with a fully decentralized system in the very beginning, because that can be sometimes hard. So a lot of projects have been moving towards that. MakerDAO is one of them. Compound is another one. They released their governance token and are moving towards a more decentralized platform.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Aave too, right? So yeah, it's really fascinating.
Yes.
Super cool stuff that these teams are doing. I find it very interesting that people work on these teams, like that they're, that you work at the company knowing that at some point your time will end. But yeah. I love that there are people out there that truly understand that it's needed to greater improve blockchain and the community around it. So yeah, just a very cool use case there. Awesome. And then, we're heading towards the end, but basically I wanted to ask you, Ksenia, why do DAOs matter? Why should we care about these?
Yeah, so I think it goes back to our, the point of DAOs are created for all different types of purposes and passions. So maybe there's not a DAO that exists right now, that's something that you're passionate about. Maybe you're passionate about your local community, or you want to raise money to send kids in Ghana, whatever the reason or, purpose is, whatever your passion is, you can create a DAO, right? DAOs give this distributed and transparent structure for you to join others who share similar passions. With the click of a button, you can deploy your own DAO, you can get people to buy in, and then you can start working towards something that you really care about. So they really give you the power to influence and improve our society without having a centralized management team. So all the money that you raise, proposals that are submitted, any of the actions, they're all public on the blockchain. There's no chance that, the Red Cross DAO is skimming 75 cents off of every dollar donation to pay their salaries. All of that is open and transparent. And it's really amazing. Like, there have been thousands of DAOs deployed and just tens of thousands of members who have joined. Collectively, the last number that I found was that these DAOs have raised over $800 million. That's probably increased since that last statistic. So you really just have a lot of power to create change in the world. You can be part of a digital community that you care about. You can be part of an organization where your voice actually matters and you can actually make a difference. And the blockchain industry is still in its nascent stage. So it has been around for 12 years, but the idea of DAOs and DeFi, for example, have really come into their own in the past few years. So there's a lot more growth that will happen. And we just encourage all of you to take in this fun experiment of making the world a better place through DAOs.
Yeah. ×2. Totally agree. And the last thing I was just going to share were the tools and resources that you can use if you want to build a DAO. So as we were mentioning in the beginning, we personally both are in Metagram Delta, which is built off of DAO House. That's kind of the UI and website that you would go to launch and summon a DAO. So we always recommend that. I'm sure there's other tools out there as well, but that's a good place to get started. And then honestly, we operate a lot like a normal organization would. We have a Telegram group where we chat and send updates. We have a public one where members or people who are fans of us, if you want, maybe it's not fans, but more supporters of the DAO can get updates about what we're up to. And then we have a private Telegram where we all can do a little more like operations and support each other in the ways that we need to. We have a Slack as well. We have a Twitter account where we publicize all of our big updates. And so, yeah, these DAOs operate as you want them to be. I know a lot of other DAOs are really focused on using Discord for organization and communication. We have a once a week call that we do. Other DAOs maybe do once a month. Maybe they don't do too many calls. They do more so just decentralized communication online. So, yeah, I just wanted to share a few different ways that these operate so that you can really decide how you want to do it on your own. But really, the crazy thing is anybody can launch a DAO and create whatever kind of organization they want. It is a little harder to actually do it once you want to do it full time and you really want to put all your effort into it. But at the very least, launching one isn't too hard.
And there are people that are working in DAOs full time. It's amazing because that is a job role that did not exist, 5-10 years ago. And now you have full-time DAO members or DAO leaders, which is really cool. But yeah, all of the tools that Zaji mentioned, we'd love to have more members in Meta Gamma Delta. We're always, happy to meet other women that are excited about learning about blockchain. We have technical members in the DAO. We have beginners, that need help setting up their MetaMask, their browser wallet to actually join that, we're happy to support. We just want to support women and would love to work with more women who share that same passion with us.
Yeah, and I do see a question from Eve. Does your DAO provide a service to the public? And how can we join it? So I'll share that part 2. Part 1, we don't provide a service per se. We were just chatting about how there are DAOs that you can actually contract out members of the DAO to do work on, whether it's smart contract development or marketing work, et cetera. Our DAO is more so focused just on fundraising and giving out grants to women in the blockchain space. So starting tomorrow, for example, we'll be a part of the next Gitcoin grants round. I'm not sure if you've heard of Gitcoin before, but it's a public kind of like crowdfunding service that you can use based off of cryptocurrency. So you can actually donate 10 DAI or $10 in Ethereum to our DAO. And what we would then do is at the end of the year, we're going to gather all the funds that we had and give them out to grantees. There will be an application process where you can apply to be a grantee. We do a whole process where we interview applicants and then we choose the final ones. So last year, Eve, I'm just reiterating this since you just walked in, but last year we had over $30,000 raised and we gave close to about $10,000 to 3 different grantees. One winner was The Defiant, which is a decentralized finance journalism platform. The second winner was Good Ghosting. They're a DeFi game that's coming out to help you understand how to better handle your funds within DeFi. And then the last was Dada, which is an art cooperative, basically creating NFTs in the art space and making sure that the artists are getting value. And how can you join our DAO? I'll share our Twitter account in a second, but you can follow us and DM us and we can give you more information. We also have a Telegram where you would join and we have all of the information of how to pledge and actually join the DAO there. We actually just moved over to a layer 2 solution called Matic. Sorry if I'm getting too technical, but all I'm trying to say is that it's actually a lot easier now to join the DAO and cheaper. You don't have to worry about Ethereum transaction fees anymore. So definitely please join if you can. Let me grab that link. Is there anything else we should be sharing, Ksenia?
No, I think you covered it all. And again, we're happy. We have a lot of technical people on the team, so we're happy to walk you through the process of pledging. If it's a little bit confusing, it can be a little bit daunting because you need to set up this browser wallet to connect to the blockchain in order to pledge. But I promise it's not that scary. Once you do it, one time, you should be good to go. So yeah, Zaji just posted the Telegram. We have documentation on how to do that process. And of course, you're welcome to join our calls before you actually pledge to be a member. If you want to check us out, see how we, run the meetings, meet some of the other members, ask any questions that you may have. You don't have to commit to being part of the DAO before you join the calls and check us out.
Yeah. Any other questions from the audience? Cool. Well, we were potentially expecting one more speaker. Doesn't look like she was able to make it. So we'll end early, but I will answer that question. Yes, we do have international members from all over the world. We have people in Europe, South America, I think
New Zealand, Thailand,
yeah, New Zealand. Yeah. And the US.
Everywhere.
Yes. So, and we've also, when we were giving out our grants, we actually talked to a few grantees based out of Africa. So yeah, I mean, we are open to having members from all over the world, and also male or female. You can join either way. We just are excited to have people that support the same mission as us.
Yep.
Amazing. Well, we will end a little bit early, but feel free to reach out to us on the links shared should you have any other questions about how Metagamma Delta works or how DAOs work. We're happy to share.
Yes, thanks. Thanks, everyone. It was nice to be here and talk about DAOs. Thank you for the opportunity. Zaji, always a pleasure.
Of course. Okay, thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.